my nudes, I'm gonna leak your nudes. Is that like blackmail? Or is that like
This? I don't know what he thought he was cooking here. If you look my if you leak my news, I'll leak it back. That does not make it good at all.
or is that like abusive? I disagree.
So do you think that leaking sexting and leaking nudes is proportional, or do you think it's a proportional response in the way that you're reacting to that?
I think it's about proportional. Because you're leaking like sexual material and shit from another person. Yeah, fuck it. I think it's proportional.
Destiny has also at least once admitted to accidentally sending homemade videos of him and his wife to people who his wife did not in advance approve of, in accordance with a previous agreement that he wouldn't.
Me and Leah had a conversation about, there were a few girls we talked to, it was like, oh cool, like we should record videos of like us fucking shit and send it to people, like it's fun. I kind of like have like my little archive of like Coomer material that I'll send to people if I want to. There were girls that I talked to past that I'd send stuff of like either me or me and Melina, and Melina talked to me and she was like, hey, if you're gonna send any videos to new girls that we haven't talked about, like let me know that first. Because she wanted to be careful. It's like, oh, okay, sure, that's fine. I didn't think about it at the time because I didn't think it mattered, but for the first thing, like, okay, yeah, I should have like checked 100% with Melina, but like this.
Other examples of threats and sexual misconduct made by Destiny are plentiful, but the general point is this. Destiny has a very bad history when it comes to sharing intimate material of people that he is sexually involved with without their consent, and of using the threat of their release to keep people in line. If this brings a certain Diddy to mind, you are not alone. Like with Diddy, when people speak out about Destiny's misconduct, the responses vary from silence to dismissal to outright threats of exposing their intimate information and media. Unlike with Diddy, these aren't just allegations, we have the receipts. In 2023, Destiny's wife Melina publicly separated from him. In response, Destiny went on stream and indicated multiple times that he was confident that Melina would not leak any unsavory details about the relationship to the public because he too had compromising information on her and logs that would seriously harm Melina's reputation if they were revealed. Whereas, since his reputation around relationships was already so low, he would be effectively immune to the consequences.
Why do you think that she isn't going to leak or talk shit? Melina will not leak or talk shit about any of this because she knows that everything about this makes her look like a satanic demon. She knows that. She's threatened it a million times, like, I'm gonna start leaking everything. Oh yeah, let's go. Okay, if you really want to, holy because my reputation is already zero in regards to our relationship. Everybody thinks I'm a horrible piece of shit. We want to start leaking shit, we can do it.
Fast forward to November 2024. Due to the solo leaks, it has come to light that Destiny has been sharing intimate private messages, nude images, and pornographic videos with a 19-year-old OnlyFans creator called Rose, who he was sexually interested in at the time.
Coming.
Rose leaked these to a Discord and Kiwi Farms user called Solo Leaks, who may for all we know be Rose herself, who then published them to Discord and to Kiwi Farms. These leaks included intimate romantic and sexual DMs between Destiny and Lauren Southern, who Destiny had long denied being romantically involved with while she became increasingly present in his public personal life and on stream, despite being publicly at odds with each other politically on the surface. Destiny even once described her activism as involving, quote-unquote, drowning refugees. These DMs revealed that in fact, Destiny and Lauren Southern had been mutually declaring their love and admiration for each other, including expressing intentions to separate from their respective partners to marry each other. All of this was happening behind the scenes, despite Destiny publicly claiming to his audience that he and Lauren were not involved.
You don't know Lauren Southern Lauren? He was gonna leave Melina for Lauren Southern.
I didn't know like the marriage and shit. I knew there was been like a kid because they were secretly in love with each other. I didn't know it was like we're gonna leave our partners. And I didn't know. I thought it was like me. Damn, he really fucks every girl he talks to.
And while he was publicly accusing his wife Melina of lying and of being controlling privately when she would express displeasure about the relationship and when she requested that Destiny stop associating with Southern. In addition to these leaks, which not only severely compromised Lauren Southern's career and personal life, but also established that Destiny was lying when he accused his wife of being delusional and controlling about the affair, Solo Leaks also published a massive dump of revenge pornography, which featured various sexual encounters with numerous men and women that Destiny had recorded and sent to Rose as part of their flirtations, which incidentally include references to how he recorded other people not included in the dump, including a recording of a sexual encounter with someone he met on the gay dating app Grindr with no mention of having alerted this person to the fact that they were being recorded. Note, It is a felony to record sex acts without consent in the state of Florida. So to recap, Destiny, who has a long history of threatening associates, friends, and family with public humiliation and exposure through releasing revenge pornography and intimate messages, actually did leak a tremendous quantity of compromising, sexually humiliating messages, images, and videos featuring other people to at least one person without their consent. These were then publicly leaked, and the reaction has been total silence. Nothing. Historically, Destiny has always been boldly willing to threaten leaking private intimate material, such as during his separation from his wife, or to expose nude images to retaliate against women he was slandering, like Anna, or even just for the sheer pleasure of it, as in the case of Blue Tea mentioned earlier, where the only purpose was revenge. This time, however, somehow, there is nothing. Not by Destiny, nor by anybody else. No streams, no video exposés, no tweets by any notable figures denouncing what is an obvious massive breach in ethics and consent. Nothing. Which begs the question, why?
Raises the question, Sunday. That's wrong.
Why is everyone being so silent about something that by all rights should be a massive sex and abuse scandal about one of online politics' biggest and most controversial figures? As I said at the beginning of this video, this is not just a story about a man, but about power and how power works. And it's not a story that is new. At the center of this scandal is a concerted effort by Destiny's friends, associates, and community to conceal and hide his wrongdoings by any and all means. This includes deleting any mentions of the leaks on Discord and Reddit, obfuscating the issue by acting as if the leaks only contain private sexual behaviors and therefore aren't anyone else's business, or even offering money to the victims in exchange for their silence. Now, if one were to say that the creators around Destiny were simply remaining silent about this scandal in order to continue to capitalize on their friendship with Destiny and have access to his audience, this would be a misleading oversimplification. Some people are doing that for sure, and some people in fact are even going out of their way to run interference to protect Destiny from the consequences of his actions. But this is not a story about the nefarious deeds of evil men and women, but about power. And it turns out that in fact a lot of people are simply afraid. Afraid of what they have a moral right or a public sanction to say given the sensitive nature of these leaks, and afraid of the retribution of Destiny and those in his audience if they say something that angers him. A very large creator in YouTube commentary called Nicholas DeOrio, disgusted at the obvious sexual abuse and public coercion he was witnessing coming from Destiny and his defenders, and frustrated by the fact that people were beginning to lump him in with the others who were actively covering for Destiny, reached out to me directly to clarify why he was not being more vocal. He told me that, due to the sensitive nature of the material, despite being very confident about Destiny's guilt, he was very conflicted about coming forward against Destiny on behalf of the victims in this story without them voluntarily coming forward first. This was for two reasons. First, Destiny has a history of persuading his victims to come to his defense during a scandal. This happened once when a creator called Mr. Girl infamously attempted to accuse Destiny of lying about his relationship with Anna Voir. And in response, Destiny produced recent DMs between himself and Anna in which he got her to say that her own quoted claims against Destiny were false. And here it is notable that the fact that these DMs were between the alleged abuser and his victim did not seem to affect their credibility in the eyes of his audience. And second, because of Destiny's ability to use his hold over his massive audience to deal serious reputational and financial damage to people who he feels have slighted him. Nicholas refers explicitly here to the reputational damage Destiny inflicted on another commentary YouTuber called ChudLogic when he was approached by Destiny's now ex-wife Melina to give her side of the story about the Lauren Southern affair.
So, I mean, I've privately told everybody I'm completely distancing myself from this guy, waiting for this bomb to go off, but I don't want to be the one to fucking light it. But, I mean, I feel stupid. I sent Destiny, like, a message of support at the beginning of this. Really? About his dick getting leaked, not about this part of it. Like, oh, it's a shame that your dick got leaked or whatever, which I guess is still valid.
I didn't realize how bad it was initially. I thought the big thing was the Lauren Southern leaks. I thought, oh, he's got sex tapes. Okay. Surprise, surprise.
Well, in the back of my head, I was thinking, why would all these people consent to their fucking nudes being exchanged?
Well, the answer
why
is they
would that
wouldn't.
even happen? They would absolutely not. They absolutely wouldn't. Yeah. And it's like, and I haven't really been able to talk about this with anybody because I'm at like a fucking, it's a huge risk to even discuss it. because this guy's got such a chokehold over his community. But I legitimately think if it ever comes up, I absolutely think that's career ending, and I don't think that could be defended. And if it can be defended by his community, it would fucking completely destroy. I mean, yeah, his reputation's in the toilet. It could be lower.
Well, it could be. It's also
lower.
it's in the toilet with people who care to know.
Yeah, no, I think this is a viral everyone's story, video, like community-wide story. If this cover-up ever comes out,
What specifically would have to happen to trigger some kind of, determinate position on this in public for you?
I mean, I'll be super candid about it. He would need to talk.
Yeah, would you have to talk publicly, or do you just
Yeah.
have to see it?
No, I think I've already seen it. I think she needs to talk publicly because if anything, if it comes down to it and Destiny convinces her privately to take that other... Look what happened with Chud Logic and Lauren Southern. He had Melina coming to him and telling him these things directly. And he was put in a position where he can either eat shit and be hated by that community and lose a huge percentage of his audience to the point where I had to pick up the other half of the slack and like help him out, right, to keep him afloat, or he could just leak those messages and be justified immediately, and it would start like a huge conflict. And I guess he did the right thing by loyalty, but like, you know what I mean? It's like, if you don't have the person, then it's you fighting on behalf of somebody else. And I've seen this go down so many times with content creators where if they don't have the support of the actual victim in the situation,
Right.
you're fighting a losing battle from day one.
So principally, your concern is that you're going to take a pretty big financial/audience hit if you were to do
Well,
this.
I think there's a genuine risk that I'm going to get left out to dry here, because if she doesn't say anything, or even worse, if she comes out and says it's not true, then I'm fucked.
A lot of people who would otherwise potentially be ready to support the victims of Destiny's systemic abuse of female and male colleagues are stuck between wanting to call foul on some truly reprehensible behavior and the realization that if they did, there are so many ways to spin them as the villains through Destiny's further manipulation of the victims and of his massive following. Two particularly aggressive defenders of Destiny have been Not So Erudite and Dan Sullivan, who are both colleagues and close members of his inner circle.
Yo,
Both have
Dan
gone
is a
out of their way
loser.
either to dissuade attempts to bring up the issue of Destiny's non-consensual sharing of intimate material of other people
Man, I
publicly,
can't
or
wait
to
until we get to
directly
Erudite videos.
discourage his victims from speaking out or taking legal action. A major consequence of Destiny's silence and the silence of the people around him on this issue is that all of the negative consequences for these leaks have been borne by the victims, who are still being publicly shamed and harassed as I speak. However, faux concern for their well-being and their wishes to remain as anonymous and private as possible has been used to shut down any discussion where Destiny might be held responsible for endangering them in the first place. The perverse result is that Destiny's crimes against these people are effectively being weaponized as their own defense against others who would call him out for them. For example, when one community member known as Fairy Queen questioned Not So Erudite's continued association with Destiny, given the revelation that he had been sharing porn of people he streams with without their consent, and given Not So Erudite's own avowals of being a mental health expert and a feminist, Not So Erudite claimed that she was in communication with the victims behind the scenes and that they didn't want any additional attention. And so therefore, Not So Erudite was actually doing the moral thing by not holding Destiny accountable for victimizing them in the first place and for personally continuing to profit from the reputation of Destiny by whom she was employed. When pressed on this, Not So Erudite promptly terminated the conversation. But it turns out that Not So Erudite was telling the truth when she said she was communicating on behalf of the victims, because as it turns out, she was from very early on
They're
primary
calling her?
in negotiating the
Calling her Kyla Maxwell
Oh no.
after Ghislaine Maxwell.
price of their silence. Enter Pixie. Pixie is a tiny streamer who, like Destiny's wife Melina, was visually identifiable in the leaks. Pixie had been working closely with Destiny since she turned 20 years old in 2019, and in addition to appearing on stream together regularly, Destiny also got her involved in paid positions organizing for canvassing projects, like with Progressive Victory, who he partnered with in 2024, and she would accompany him multiple times to large podcast appearances such as the Whatever podcast, which he would pay for her to be flown out to. Pixie had, for a very long time, repeatedly tried to present herself as an example of a woman who could succeed as a part of Destiny's orbit, without being a member of his oft-rumored harem of women who offer him sexual favors in exchange for exposure and stream time. In light of these leaks, that image has obviously
It's funny. was right. I think this is Lava confronting her why she didn't come out during the Mr. Girl report. Oh, let me read it. Why would you lie about me sleeping with Destiny? Which is true, but she just denied it at the time. Was there anything I said that gave you that idea? I'm not going to lie, I'm supremely pissed right now and just want to make a final good faith attempt at trying to figure out where your head is at before I explode low. Oh, I didn't mean to lie. I thought it was public. I can rewrite the record. I apologize. I thought you guys had a public relationship. No, I never did anything with Steven. False. The most he's ever sent me was like thirsty emoji. What is such a big guy? And I've gotten that from plenty of men and women. Okay, she's like capping. That's why I want to know who would tell you that so I can confront them, or if you got me confused with someone else maybe. I think I may have. I am really so sorry. I just publicly said I was wrong. Seriously, I am sorry. I was right.
You know when people lie and they say like these weird things, like they say like extra shit for like no reason, you know, like it's like, oh yeah, all he ever did is like, instead of saying no, we've never done anything, they're like, no, we've never done anything. The most he's ever sent me is a blah 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 blah. And can you tell me? Because I want to know who said. Like, you can really tell, bro. That someone's kind of like lying.
Yeah, her lav one, big lav W.
Honestly,
Obviously been shattered, and she has received the brunt of negative reactions to the scandal, since people who hate Destiny and hate the politics of the people in his group are eager to laugh at the hypocrisy of one of them, even if it means joining in the mass harassment of someone who is in fact a victim of revenge porn.
Wait, you
Unfortunately,
said that last thing?
Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position
What did he say?
Who said that last thing? The tweet about them.
Oh.
That guy is based.
He's big, Big Papa. Does he even go by Big Papa Fascist anymore? I guess he's just Andrew Wilson now. Man, have you seen him debating Dean and Parker?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god, I was watching him like debate a numerology guy once, and he's, you know what? It was like numerology is like using numbers to predict shit. It's like, please predict the date. Please use these numbers to predict a specific date. And then he says, "Look, I'm not a fortune teller." So then what? And then oh my god, Andrew, I'm too lazy to pull it up. And then Andrew's like, "Okay, use my like birthday details to predict what my future is." And he predicts what he does, and he's like, "I gave you a fake date." And they got pissed at him, and he's like, "You're a liar! You're a liar!" It was so funny.
is joining in the mass harassment of someone who is in fact a victim of revenge porn. Unfortunately, Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position could do. Rather than seek legal recourse or make a public statement denouncing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented, she seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny. An American citizen who finds themselves a victim of revenge pornography has several valid actions they can take. Let's go over 3. First, they can seek legal recourse. In fact, there is a federal law on the books as of 2022 that allows victims of non-consensual exchanging of explicit material to be compensated up to $150,000, and that's even if the leaks were not necessarily done maliciously, but only with reckless disregard for the consent of the victims. The victims may even have their identity concealed. Second, they may make a public statement denouncing the person who leaked the materials and violated their consent. And in fact, this can be done in conjunction with the first option I mentioned. And finally, they can choose to do nothing. They can stay silent and hope that it all blows over. And this is their right. But Pixie did not do any of these.
Sunday tries to spin it that Pixie suicide baited to extort money.
No.
In an exchange that I have learned has since been circulated among the entire commentary community on YouTube and virtually everyone in Destiny's circle, Not So Erudite can be seen haggling with Pixie over the amount of money that would be appropriate for Destiny to pay her to not involve the court system or to denounce him publicly. First, Pixie uses the implicit threat of her impending suicide and a scheduled note announcing it to pressure Destiny to pay out a significant sum.
I think we have all. I read these later, but she was saying, I don't want to kill myself and make my friends unhappy. Also, I don't want to auto-kill myself.
No.
Of money, and then later switches to vague threats of public denunciations and legal action. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, her friend Straightraid was colluding to advise Destiny to offer to help her financially as penance to stave off her threats of self-harm. a situation that would obviously be a reputational disaster for Destiny. Note, Straight Raid has also explicitly said that she did not consider the situation serious enough to warrant a wellness check. As revealed in earlier DMs between Pixie and Destiny prior to this conversation with Not So Erudite, Pixie and her friend Straight Raid had used the specter of her impending suicide to alarm Destiny enough that he would be receptive to suggestions of financial compensation. Apparently, Pixie was hopeful from the beginning that she could get as much as a $1 million payout from Destiny, which Straight Raid had to repeatedly
That's
talk her
crazy.
down from. The condition of this financial compensation is, of course, Pixie's continued silence. This would seem to imply that Pixie's
$1
decision to not go
million?
public is not because she is afraid of the repercussions, or else she wouldn't be threatening Destiny directly with legal action or public denunciations, but because she wants to profit personally off of extorting Destiny, who also, it must be remembered, is a victim of revenge porn. Destiny may be the one responsible for the leaker having the images in the first place, but he shared them recklessly, not maliciously. And of course, he has endured public humiliation as well for this. Destiny's close friend and podcast co-host Dan Saltman, the CEO of Redact, had also reportedly gone behind Destiny's back to advise Pixie to make financial demands of Destiny, as well as to ask her to dissuade Destiny from taking legal action against Kiwi Farms for hosting the leaks.
Damn, it's so
Pixie has
retarded.
since said nothing publicly. There has been no evidence of legal proceedings being pursued, and she has seemingly ceased communications with the people she was previously working with, instead posting on X about taking the LSAT in pursuit of law school. It appears as though her attempt to extort Destiny has probably paid off, albeit at the expense of every other person Destiny has victimized in the past and will victimize in the future. And so we can see the circuit completing itself. Destiny seeks out vulnerable women in his community who are enamored by his fame and success. He engages them intimately and records the interactions. Then he hoards these recordings and he shares them with reckless abandon, even occasionally threatening their release if the people in them do something to
Where's the
displease him.
accountability on the women's
And when
side,
finally,
bruh?
the obvious result of recklessly sharing these intimate images with strangers occurs and they are publicly exposed for all to see to the detriment of these people's reputations, mental health, and safety, he is able to buy off his victims and use their purchased silence as moral ammunition to shut down anyone who would try to hold him accountable for what is clearly grossly unethical conduct. Destiny, and the web he has created around himself, is creating victims, and if it is allowed to continue, it will create more. I urge everyone to pay attention and to warn people about the danger they are putting themselves into by engaging with Destiny and his community. These are people who have been handpicked for their willingness to not just remain passive in the wake of intimate and
Not
potentially
people,
life-ruining
women.
abuse, but to also become accomplices in silencing the victims. And the victims
man,
are also
I'm a woman.
either for
I'm a
mental
woman
illness,
lover.
allowing them to be easily construed as hysterical or deceptive when they complain about their treatment, or for financial vulnerability, allowing them to be easily paid off by Destiny for their silence. Thanks to certain individuals revealing to me the extent to which people are knowingly allowing or even actively taking part in the system of abuse and cover-up, I have realized that by withholding what I know of the situation, I am playing directly into Destiny's game. Someone needs to break the chain, or people are going to continue to be hurt.
What do you mean, bro? All of these girls have access to the internet, bro. Like, they can easily Google Destiny and see, like, all the controversy and issues and, like, all the shit he said with these women. And there's been, like, I don't know, how many girls? We're probably on girl number, like, 15 now that we know publicly. And it's like they all keep going for him.
Yeah,
even
they
though
are
know
retarded.
he's a dickhead. These women aren't that retarded. These women aren't that retarded. I think women are retarded, but they're not this retarded. They know. They probably don't know how bad he is because you have to deep dive into his fucking life. But they know that he's like not a good person. Like he's like if white is good, gray and black is bad. Like he's like in the middle. He's like a grayish sort of like kind of bad person. Like these girls know that, but they're like, I'm gonna take the risk for like the clout money and these, like these women, they know what they're doing, bro. They're not that stupid. Or if you think they're that stupid, then we have to agree with Mr. Gao and we need to take all the agency away from these women because they can't make decisions by themselves.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him, man. Imagine that, man. Cringe video, but I'll give it a like. Cringe, but I'll give it a like. I think
The women are so. These women are dumb.
so. This
bro.
day,
These women are dumb and they think we're dumb, bro. Like, you're not victims.
so this day, I think Beckett released a video the same day. I think Beckett video is a little bit better. than Sunday's cringe video. I think he actually like paints a better story here.
Predator on Mars.
This is hella dramatic though.
Is this like a train wrecks video? Like, why is the interest?
Destiny Peace, not EXE.
Those of you who have been following Destiny in his orbit for a while may have started to notice a rift forming.
Destiny can help you with the slandering.
Oh, I didn't go over this. You know who Pixie is to this guy? You know Lonerbach. You know who is?
I'm guessing they're like.
Lonerbach is some like random. Like he's like a cool creator, and he was like getting into the.
Box is.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, him and Pixie are like dating. And so.
Oh, I think that.
So Destiny fucked his girlfriend and then the leak. I guess they were in.
Together?
No, definitely. Destiny's not that gangster. I would actually respect him. If Destiny did that, I think I would just. I just have to respect. I think I would just have to side against Pixie.
Did they meet? Wait, did he meet his?
No,
Did he meet Pixie through him?
No, that was a long. This is like years ago. Remember, Pixie's in the community for like 5 years. Years ago, I think Lonerbox met Pixie like, I guess, like the last 365 days. But like he feels some type of way because it's like his like girlfriend. Allegedly, I don't know. I'm not reading all the logs, but allegedly, his girlfriend just got leaked by Destiny.
I'd rather not.
In late November, a leak occurred which revealed, shall we say, a lot of Destiny's personal history. There has been massive speculation about the people involved in those leaks, whether the sharing of them was consensual, and people's both public and private reactions to them. What I have for you today is a breakdown of the conversation that occurred between President Sunday and Straighteraid. This includes multiple DM leaks between the parties involved, and conversations of the general strategies being taken. But first, let me explain to you why I'm prepared to release these at all. When I went looking for these DMs, having heard about them on the grapevine from a couple of sources, I'll be honest, what I found was two separate individuals who had received them independently, and for one of them, they were pretty far down the chain. Now, people's level of knowledge involving these leaks is debatable. Though at this point, I will say, of all the people who aren't directly involved in these events, I probably have one of the fullest pictures. The story I want to tell you isn't really the story of Destiny.
I might go over
Rather,
Myron's
what I
too.
want to display is the machine that exists around him. Because, to be clear, that machine around him is already being exposed.
Hi everyone. So Lonerbox has announced that he is
Bad empanada.
and he gave a bit of an iffy answer for that. Like he said, it was in part because he was supposedly harassed and smeared by me and Hassan. But I actually found out the real reason just now, and it's that Destiny cucked him. His girlfriend cheated on him with Destiny.
And this drip feed of information is causing so much speculation from everybody that regardless of what anybody's original intentions were, it has created more of an air of mystery, speculation, and interest than was ever needed. On November the 29th, 2024, President Sunday would reach out to Straighteraid regarding the Destiny leaks and ask her to check in on Pixie, as even at that point, people were beginning to speculate that it was her in the images. They then begin discussing the situation and how best to move forward with informing Pixie, which leads to an hour-long call in which Sunday provides further context around the leaks themselves and other people Destiny may have been involved with. This also includes a conversation between Lav and Pixie, which occurred during the Mr. Girl saga, where Pixie denied sleeping with Destiny when confronted by Lav. Pixie would then go private, much to the frustration of both Sunday and Straighteraid, both of them realizing that in some ways, this was just a confirmation that it was indeed her to those who were speculating. Outside of these two, the wider rumor mill was obviously already spinning, with people reaching out to see what information or opinions other people had. There's obviously the additional factor of speculation regarding what other communities may know or be referring to when they're coming across general memes or comments. These conversations would continue for several days while they discussed the reactions from the wider community and online discourse. Picking back up on December 4th, President Sunday becomes concerned with Pixie's approach and tactics, noting that that's like every wrong decision she could make, now it's content. The concern generally being that this was only reinforcing people's opinions that she was the one in the leaks, and driving people to investigate deeper. Straighterade would describe this as Sunday preaching to the choir. Importantly, it was around this time that Not So Erudite would reach out to Straighterade. She asked how Pixie is doing, but then she asked if Pixie knew he took the video and if she consented to it being shared. I don't know why she'd even ask me that. My answer could be no on both counts, and she would not change a thing, lol. It's quite obvious that in the opinions of both Straighterade and Sunday, that Not So Erudite would be asking these things not out of concern for Pixie, but out of concern for Destiny. With a general feeling that regardless of what the answer was, Kyla's position wouldn't change a dot. Straighterade does also confirm that Pixie was aware of the recording at least existing, and that it had not been created without her knowledge. The conversation moves off this topic once again at this point, to the wider subject of Hassan and the Twitch war that was occurring at the time. Though it would come up again around the 1st when Straighterade brings up Fairy Queen leaving a comment on Kyla's most recent video. Erudite seemingly had been in contact with Fairy Queen asking her to take this comment down, or at least a section of it. Though it is worth noting that Erudite is openly talking about being in contact with the victims of the leaks, and noting concern for them as the primary reason for its removal. As I'd like to do as little editorializing as possible here, I'll let it pass without much comment. Though I would like to point out at this point that the leaks themselves and the silence around them had become such a fascinating topic that even Wick TV seems to recognize that this is obviously becoming a content item in and of itself.
Keep that in mind. It's an interesting question.
Yo, have you seen this clip of Wick? He like destroyed Destiny here. So he reads it like a super chat. That shit's on Destiny.
Symposium Brain for $20 says Lena recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former girl were shared by Destiny without her consent.
Good one. Nice.
If she has no legal recourse.
And I've got a whole bunch of super chats for you, Wick. Ready?
Okay.
Has nothing.
Did you not?
Wick.
Okay, fair enough.
Wick is a stinky butt. I think that's a #1 super chat.
At this point, Straighterade accuses Kyla of being snaky about this to President Sunday, explaining that Pixie and
this Straighterade person is supposed to be friends with Pixie, and then she's talking to Sunday about her leaks.
That's wild.
And then President Sunday leaked this. Okay, leaked this. Okay, so Pixie's not friends with Straighterade because she talked to President Sunday about this, and then Straighterade's not friends with Sunday anymore because he leaked her shit.
And Kyla have been in contact with Not So Erudite acting as a kind of liaison. It's also revealed that Dan reached out to Pixie as well. And from what Straighterade had heard, Dan encouraged Pixie to ask Destiny for a reasonable amount of money, as well as trying to get Pixie to persuade Steven not to sue Kiwi Farms. Straighterade would then provide Sunday with the DMs between Not So Erudite and Pixie, and notes Pixie's original desire for a payout somewhere in the region of $1 million. So let me take you through the conversation between Not So Erudite and Pixie. Pixie, in blue, begins by reaching out to NSE asking whether she's had a chance to talk to Steven yet. NSE responds by asking if there's anything Pixie hopes was brought up. Pixie then explains that depending on how that conversation goes depends on what her next course of action will be. Particularly based on whether Destiny feels like he needs to make up or repent for his actions. Timeline-wise, Pixie had already spoken to Destiny in what was essentially a brief exchange of DMs. Pixie would also assure Not So Erudite that she was not a danger to herself at this time. Though a constant theme in Pixie's communications is this potential underlying risk that she may do damage to herself. Not So Erudite asks whether she can share this with Destiny, to which Pixie agrees, citing the fact she doesn't feel like he really understands her perspective, and it may be better coming from Not So Erudite. Not So Erudite pushes a little harder to work out exactly what it is that Pixie wants. She lists what she thinks are her goals: help removing the video from online, getting the guy who hacked charged, a sense that Steven understands how in the wrong he was, and plans to prevent this from ever happening in the future. Here Pixie clarifies. What she wants is for this to be the most expensive mistake of his life. She doesn't list a dollar amount, nor does she want to make him destitute, but it should not be easily recoverable. NSC responds, my understanding was it was more a sense of rehabilitation and justice. But you have a specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of
Kyla
money.
in the dirt, man.
Pixie responds that she feels that unless he faces actual repercussions, he will never change. Also noting that this money can be given to charity. Not So Erudite, seemingly unsure what to do with the conversation at this point, says she'll have to talk to Steven, as this request for money isn't what she was expecting. With Pixie then responding that what she's looking for is a general acceptance from Steven that he understands that this is a potential course of action to rectify the situation, as she views this as a potential penance, which is essential, in her view, to the rehabilitation process. She goes on to explain that if Steven agrees, then great, that's an agreed course of action, but if not, then she will have to go through the court system to, as she puts it, figure this out. She goes on to note that Destiny has already alluded in DMs with her previously to financial compensation, though her concern is that he doesn't really understand the level of proportionality she is expecting from him. Kyla would then respond to tidy up the language, as in her view, it's not about punishment, it's about making sure that he is genuinely remorseful and changing his behavior. As she goes on to further clarify Pixie's position, with Pixie agreeing to the general gist. They go back and forth, with Kyla clarifying that you're not making me sad, other than like, I'm obviously sad my friend is hurting, and was hurt by our other friend. Pixie makes a final clarification that Destiny needs to understand the severity of the situation, and that paying some bills, which is a reference to her previous conversation with Destiny, isn't enough. With a final clarifier from Kyla that, I think he was worried you would feel he's paying you for your silence, but did want to help but didn't want to overstep. I think he is offering a lot more than you read it, but I totally understand why you read it that way. Back in the conversation between Streamline and Sunday, Streamline notes that Pixie was discouraged by the lawyer she was talking to from pursuing this against Steven, and this had moved Pixie to wanting to go public as she didn't feel confident in any form of legal justice. Sunday goes on to reinforce that Pixie does likely have a legal route open to her, and provides further information which Straighter Aid is to pass on to Pixie for her to consider. Sunday would then go on to ask whether there have been further conversations between Pixie and Kyla that he's not aware of, or between Pixie and Steven. These DMs, to put it simply, are Pixie confronting Steven and saying that she was going to write a note, making it clear what happened and what her feelings were, while emphasizing Steven's contribution to her current state of mind. Destiny then goes on to reassure her that she has a lot of life ahead of her, and that these leaks would pass given time. Finally, Destiny makes an offer that if she requires any help with any bills or anything, then to let him know so he can provide assistance, and it's one less thing for her to concern herself with. Straighter Aid goes on to share some DMs from Pixie in which she laments the difficulty a legal case would present, at one point suggesting that in frustration she may get the same lawyer who works for Kiwi Farms. Conversation between Straighter Aid and Sunday once again returns to the general topic of the leaks, for several days until the 8th of January, where Straighter Aid would share a copy of Pixie's statement regarding these leaks, in which she states that the sharing of these images was non-consensual, and to her knowledge, she is the third person this has happened to. The timeline she provides is that this encounter occurred fairly early on in her online career.
You read this? part of our subtext, but I could read this now.
He recorded a teenager?
Let me read this one. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non-consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for the future were that's a wrong word. That's weird. That's where, not where. Past. Okay, we're stripped away.
Where? That's like where? Where are you, bro?
Okay, buddy. We're stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. Let me be clear. I'm the third person he has done this to. I hope to be the last. I will not be commenting on the experience of other women he has hurt, as it is not my place or story to tell. I will, however, share my story in the hopes of preventing this from occurring again. I have known Destiny.
I was the third person, but I knew about the other two, and I chose to be the third person, by the way.
Base. Yeah, it is retarded. I have known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now, and often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the positive side of people. Oh, cut the stream.
She's so sad, bro. How does this make her? She wrote this and thought that was good.
Wait. Let me finish this. Let me finish this paragraph. Trying my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and should be more careful. These people are right.
She's a whore, bro. She's a dumb fucking whore, bro. He's abused and taking advantage of two other women. I'll be the third. I've known him for 5 to 6 years, bruh.
When I was 20, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered. I wanted to sexually experiment, but was terrified I'd somehow lead somebody on her experience essay. Destiny, who I had multiple long conversations with regarding to consent and boundaries, like someone I could trust and regard. So, like, this is like Queeman's.
I was 20. Was this like what other girl said that like I'm only like 26 or something? Or was it Lav saying that? Someone? So there was like another girl who's like, oh yeah, I was very young, and it's like she's like fucking like in her 20s, bro, and it's like they're like I don't know. Someone was like, dude, these girls are like in their 20s and they're acting like they're 15, 14-year-old and they don't know like what any of this shit means. Like when a guy
she was experienced.
When a guy asks you to come to their house, like all these 20-year-old women are acting like dumb teenagers online. They're like, well, I didn't know he was trying to do anything sexual with me. He just invited me to his house at like midnight. Like,
what if they want to play tennis?
Yeah, with your fucking throat, bro.
Like this song was it? I don't remember. I'm gonna butcher it, but Queeman's argument was like Destiny's like promoting himself as this guru, and he's learning like young teenage girls to fuck them. I mean, I kind of agree, but it's true. This guy's always talking about. He's
consent boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries and consent. A woman always knows everything. Like tons of days in advance. Like Pixie's just reading it here. This is in the subtext. We could go over
this encounter occurred fairly.
So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered he has sent pornographic content of me to a teenager without my consent. Yes, you read right. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom we have never met before. Oh, but the rest assured he had many conversations with her on the phone at least.
I don't know what's the point of that. Like,
he's so base. He's so base though. This random girl, who I didn't even know existed until this mess, proceeded to share this content online. I do not understand why Destiny would hurt me in this way. I do not know what I did to deserve it. This is so cliche, bro. You know these people pass writing class with an A. You can't get any original writing here. I do not know what action I took that could justify the violation of my consent and privacy to such a degree. I do not understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive non-stop sexual abuse and harassment. His reckless action in the pursuit of trying to oppress a teenager he'd never met using my body, my privacy, And me and my most. Why do you let him record it? Retard. And my most vulnerable moments will forever haunt me.
Fairly early on in her online career, she also cites how she would.
Okay. Okay, nobody's watching. Nobody's watching this. When I laugh through this, nobody will know. For the past month and a half, I've been extremely suicidal.
Shut the fuck up, bro. No, stop saying you've been suicidal. Just kill yourself.
Contemplating various ways to end my existence and escape the pain I currently feel. The betrayal, coupled with the hundred of messages I've. What? Okay, critique. I might like. I don't actually know who sent this. Max edited this. Like, why would okay, fuck the fucking the leaks and shit. Why the fuck you start a contraction and not have it in one line? Why is there I apostrophe at the end of this line and then VE on the next line? Like this is like so fucked up. Like this is just bad. This is horrible to read. We need to re-edit this video. It's also with like hyphen dashes. You're supposed to do them at the end of each syllable. Like when I've is one syllable. Like putting the whatever. Messages I've received filled with sexual harassment and abuse have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me alive is the hope that I can bring this man to justice and have him face legal consequences for its actions. For the past month, I've been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and have decided this is the best course of action. I will be suing him for violating the United States Federal Code 15 U.S.C. subsection 6851, civil action related to disclosure of intimate images for the publication of private facts in Florida. I'll be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his action.
Would pursue him in court, and that this would be a civil action, as this was clearly prepared for publication.
Okay. I've been told that a court case like this could potentially cost over tens of thousands of dollars. I think she met her goal because I'm older. She's at the 25K right now. I am terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing. You spelled his name wrong. Hassan is one S. As if for fun, and Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I cannot imagine what he might try to do to me in this process. Well, he's cooked. Have you seen the DGT? Sometimes I wonder if he's purposely trying to put the fear into my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multi-millionaire who can fight back, as if an indirect flaunt/warning over his capability of outspending me in whatever legal case I throw at him. At the request of my friends, I have been encouraged to link my GoFundMe recording this case here in hopes that we can raise enough for me to legally succeed.
Publication, she also notes her GoFundMe and the fact that such a case would cost money and would need wider public support. She also, at least to some degree, verifies Straighter earlier comments regarding Dan Saltzman, noting, "I have been told by a variety of people to not go public, most notably Destiny's anti-Twitch crusader, Dan Saltzman." Finally, she leaves off noting that Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. When pressed on the release schedule of this statement, Straighter shares a DM between herself and Pixie, where Pixie clarifies that she wants to talk to her lawyer first and send a demand letter, and based on his response to said letter, release it. I originally wanted to do it by next week, but seems unlikely. On January the 10th, President Sunday would approach Straighter asking if there was any updates on the situation. She responded that she hadn't heard anything else, and she speculates that Pixie at this point may be annoyed with her and just simply ignoring the messages. Though she assures Sunday that had Pixie taken the payoff, she would have been informed. It would then be on the 16th of January where Straighter would once again reach out to Sunday, asking him whether he was aware of Lonabox's stream, in which Lonabox stated his intention to take a break from streaming, but more importantly, alluded to what happened.
It's a little bit frustrating that the psycho smear campaign against me has kind of succeeded, and it's basically all because of Hassan being willing to platform it.
No, he's not in a guard.
Which is very annoying that you basically have to like suffer the consequences of someone else's stupidity, but is what it is. Someone else's failures as a human being, but that's not why I'm taking a break. That's just annoying, and it's something that I'll probably be able to work around by myself. But
within this live, Lonerbox notes his frustrations with Hassan, but points out that the Israel-Palestine discourse and how he's being treated in regard to that content isn't his reason for leaving. The further allusions come when people bring up Destiny to him in his chat.
You've got Tiny to back you up, both. You make quite the team when you're together. No. What do you mean stop streaming? I'm not going to stop like forever. I just need some. It doesn't matter. I just need a bit of a break.
The gate.
What was the catalyst for that decision?
Don't trust that shit.
Can't really go into detail. It's been a few things. Have you just not been enjoying streaming? I mean, I like
What's in this
streaming.
break anyway?
There's just a lot of things surrounding the whole thing that's making it. It's just making me need to step back for a minute and reassess what I want to do going forward. Is it the IP discourse? Nope.
Lonerbox's obvious discomfort around the topic of Destiny
Are you sure?
led to what I can only describe as a cascading series of events where people began to realize that this once contained story was not going to be contained for much longer. And it has not taken long for even people such as Hassan to start reacting to this news.
Can you just princess
So what's interesting
Link
is Bad Infant correct himself. It's not cheating, but that she had denied previously sleeping with him and then was in the leaks. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. So Bonerbox starts dating a Destiny Orbiter. The Destiny Orbiter tells Bonerbox, I never had sex with Destiny. And then Destiny, in the endless interest of like trying to fuck, e-girls that are in his DMs, sends his entire library of content that he
What
filmed.
is he
with his
doing?
ex-wife,
Did he
which I'm sure his
cyberstalk
ex-wife is
himself?
Not fully on board with. I would suspect that if you were Destiny's ex-wife, you probably aren't very happy about like videos of you guys.
He summoned something that wasn't a cybers? Yeah, you can't activate.
Many other people. And that person that he sent it to,
You just
their
kill
friend, I
him.
think, leaked all of those videos.
Unless he has this,
and
the
made it viral,
no, wait.
one of them was even Destiny like sucking a
That's
penis.
Solomon Great War Roy.
And,
Okay,
that's
you
where the
just
whole,
have to
like, the Destiny
okay,
stuff
back.
Dominic Fuentes drama comes from. But ultimately,
Yeah, Solomon Great.
ultimately,
Okay,
what
never
ended up happening is, I guess that's when Bonerbox found out that his girlfriend had actually lied to him. Maybe, I don't know.
Given the nature of the developing situation, President Sunday suggests having a
You gotta
call
love
with
the bureau.
Straighter Aid to explain to her that at the very least, Pixie's involvement is now public discourse. And most pressingly, that the conversation between Pixie and Erudite had leaked to a wide range of people. Sunday, for his part, had been approached for a conversation by another content creator regarding these leaks, as people were beginning to try and work out how much information everyone else was holding. They begin going back and forth, discussing who the leaker of the leaks may be, though honestly, looking through it, it's sort of an elementary question at this point. But we do get one more interesting detail, and that's the fact that Straighter Aid had been discussing all of this with Destiny throughout this period. In fact, it was Straighter Aid who suggested to Steven compensation. Sunday asks, but given that your impulse is to try and find a mole, I'm going to assume that what they said is accurate. You suggested Steven pay for Pixie's law school. Straighter Aid responds, this was one of my few suggestions. I said that she's in a precarious financial situation, that she's not consulted her therapist, and that therapy bills or payments to assist with law school would be money that would be productive to her because it's something to look forward to. She refuses to tell her family, and things were breaking down with Lona, and I felt overwhelmed being one of I don't know how many people she let into a limited support network. What follows in these DMs is essentially Sunday emphasizing the situation to Straighter Aid. At time of recording, Bad Empanada has come out with a video titled Destiny is a sex criminal, shared porn of multiple people without consent. The spiraling situation is what led to Sunday coming to me. He was aware already that I'd been looking for these DMs, and was aware at the very least of their existence. Because he wanted to provide a fuller context for them rather than just me releasing them in a tweet, he offered this wider conversation with Straighter hoping it could help fill in any blanks, along with any outstanding leaks or information which I may not have. I have attempted to present this information with as little bias as possible. I really just want to provide you with a wider context for what has been happening within the DGG machine. I personally never sought out the Destiny leaks. I have now read more of Destiny's Kiwi farm page than I ever wanted to. And while, if I'm being frank, I'm not surprised or stunned or shocked by the leaks. I'm not a Destiny fan and never have been. But I've never hated the guy either. Unfortunately for me, this story is one that is basically impossible to ignore. It has been fascinating watching people dance around this topic. And at least for me, this is the part of the story that I wanted to know about. I'm not an accountability channel. I frankly don't care to be.
Nice one. You know, it's been fun to watch, like, woman after woman, like, get with him, and then to come out and say they were abused in some way. And then they talk about the other women that, like, he's abused in the past. It's like, you abused her, just like you're abusing me. And then it's like, so you knew about the previous woman, so it's like, these women are so dumb.
Send me the links. Send me the porn. He's in it too.
No.
I think NASA Erudite, like,
These women have lost their mind. Like, one, you're being recorded? Like, and like, okay.
so,
And two, it's like you're being recorded by a streamer on top of it. You've lost it.
was it Pixie released a Substack? I read most of it. It was in that video. Then Destiny released a statement. I don't even think it's worth going over it. Basic Destiny. Basic Destiny. It's not even worth it, but the Destiny Reddit post was basically Destiny. I didn't intentionally leak it. It's all their fault. I'm not gonna take legal action to basically goofy stuff. Okay. Then Kyla released this. I can't remember. These are the full text messages. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can just do like a basic Google search, but I saw a video. See a Google. Well, I mean, Google's just saying excessive scarring is.
There's no way doing the hair transplant.
You're like, you can get infections.
So like the basic post-surgery stuff. Is that really it?
I guess. Poor
That's
hair
nothing.
growth. It's going to be unevenly distributed. It's going to be patchy and thin.
What do you think, Flo?
What if you do? What if your hair just gets infected? Yeah, you're just going to cook yourself.
I'm not gonna get it done in America. I'm gonna get it done like, you know, in like countries where they just do it all the fucking time.
You've lost your mind. I hate to use the information you've given me against you. I think that you uninstalling all of these games, now you're just bored and like now you're just cooking yourself.
No,
you
you're
need to
not.
download. You need to download Master Door again or something, because now you're. Because every time I talk to you, Ty, you're starting to sound crazier and crazier. I'm not gonna lie. You need to chill, bro. You need to play another game.
Save your money. Don't use it on hair transplant. Are you going bald?
He's not going bald. He's probably not going bald.
Then you're fine.
Ty, do you want? I'll play like fucking Black Desert with you. Just relax and go back to being normal.
No way.
I can't go back to that. I sink too much time into these games, bro.
Shit, that's true.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the new Ty. The new Ty's making me feel schizo.
Bro, chill out. I can send you the picture of what it looks like.
Sure, but you're making me schizo. Nah, you need to chill, bro.
I'm not bugging. I'm letting you know.
Grab a Pepsi. You know, get some ice, pour it in the drink, and just chill, bro. It's okay.
Oh my god, Flo, you got my back.
I got your back for sure.
Thank you.
You're gonna listen to the devil.
Look, I will send it to both of y'all.
I want to talk to your streamer. I'm a good guy. I will never leak anything.
Yeah.
CW stream. Okay, let me read this advertised tape.
Oh, Erudite, the person who has sex with the therapist has sex with the kid.
No, Erudite is a good. Erudite would never do that.
Yeah. And when Mr. Girl asked her if she did that, she said no response.
Okay, let me check.
Yeah, she's
There.
lost. It's like a statement from the devil.
Who's that?
That's me.
No way.
You've been stressed out.
No way.
I told you I'm not fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, you need to chill, Bill, bro.
You need to
this is how it
de-stress.
looks in the front and the sides, right? Like I look normal, but it's just like up there, bro.
That's tough.
You use AirPods, right? Not like the giant headphones around.
You could comb over.
The comb, no, the comb over looks bad. I gotta like, so like to make it look like natural, I do like the backwards part. So like the front is like part of like normal, like the picture, but then like
Yeah.
I section the back off, like go backwards with the rest of my hair, like with the weight.
You could definitely salvage this.
I have been salvaging it for like 2 years, sir. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
I'm trying to
Hair
fix it.
transplant the only way?
Yes, I tried the medicine for like a year. After
Well,
a
it's
year,
like-
it started making my pee-pee not work.
What about, is there any like natural stuff?
I try the natural shit, but now the natural shit became shit that makes your hair fall out. Like that whole rosemary oil thing.
Oh, okay.
That's tough.
I don't know, and I was using that shit religiously too, bro.
Good luck, bro.
And then like I think I have like a photo or video of it from the back like 3 years ago, bro. It's like fucking night and day.
Damn.
4 years, 3 years. Like the last job was that stressful. / girlfriend / genetics or whatever, bro.
You need to do what Plo does and just walk about this earth and don't give a fuck.
I don't do that.
I tried doing that, but I guess suppressing it doesn't work.
I'll be honest, bro. I don't give a fuck about any of like the girlfriends I've ever had. They could have died, and I just had a girlfriend a week on.
Okay, buddy.
Remember, bro, like,
Okay, we already know your ass coming back. You're the next Destiny.
What? And the same with like my colleagues at work. Like before, I used to argue with them, be like, "Hey, guy, you shouldn't do that. It's kind of bad, kind of breaking the rules and more." Now, I don't care, bro. I'm just like,
Yeah?
anything could happen.
You know, Destiny got fired when he started
care.
complaining about his employees, right? What did you refer?
Nah. Like my employee, they can break stuff, they can steal stuff. I do not care, bro. I stopped caring.
Okay,
Now
okay.
I live stress-free.
Okay, I'm gonna read the Paradise shit. Okay. I only ever looked into the leaks and reached out to Pixie because I concerned for her well-being. After I spoke with Pixie...
What? It happened this early.
After I spoke with Pixie in person, link. Hey. Hi.
Hi.
Wanna chat? Or just have a friend? I'm worried about you. Biggest cat. Worry about that bag. I don't need... Thank God nobody's watching this. I might have to delete the stream. I don't really know what to
know what to say. I'm not planning to kill myself or anything at this moment, but I feel like I'm so tired over living, and I feel like I'm never going to live in a world where I can find justice and peace. And it's like I'm trying to give myself a few days before I make any final decision. But the writing is on the wall. She's saying all of that about giving Destiny a blowjob.
I didn't hear it. I don't know what it is. That tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you I understand because I don't. But I do care, Karma. I do want to see you safe and to find peace and pursue justice. Can I be annoying and ask you to spend some time with you?
Oh no.
Can we do 1 p.m.? Also, is it super windy where you're at?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. If Destiny abused her, I mean, no. Sorry, if Destiny was like, "Oh, Pixie, I love you. I need to see you. Like, I miss you." He could have gotten out of this situation. White girls are such suckers for the word love, bro. He could have gotten her. She wouldn't have met up with fucking Erudite, bro. She would have definitely met up with you. Could have been in a relationship with her. She would have, and then yeah, bro. Destiny, not good enough.
Yeah, it's quite windy. I have a train to catch this evening, so let me know what time you're free. We could do something in Miami, like walk the riverway near Brickell or something. There's a riverway? Maybe we can go to a cafe or get lunch or something. Is 1 p.m. too late for you? Nope, that works great. How close is your family? Is a family Brickell for you? Location works. Okay, whatever location cut out works for me. I'm just happy. I'm trying to see something new. Malua is easier for me, so I need to buy 1 Uber. Let's do Malua then. Bless. See you. Running a little late. Is this Malua or Mila? Running very late. I thought the Uber would be 10 minutes, but it says I'll arrive at 1:17. Malua, Elton, and 9. About to be here. Hey, Pearl is a piece of shit. Whoa. I didn't get the Pearl. I don't know what Pearly thinks. Why is this cut off? It's like the best part of the DMs. Kiddo, I think this is why Pearl, because Pearl had a statement. Well, I knew Pixie was gonna. Must have been because she saw her name mentioned. Back to this. After I spoke to Pixie in person, she made clear her desire for me to bridge the gap between her and Steven, and her desire for as little attention on the leaks or anything identifying her as possible. Random one.
There. That's like 3 years.
To start thinking of more extreme / nuclear options to deal with, but I'm trying to avoid spiraling down that line of thought because I'm trying to hold out for hope.
Oh, that looks not. Yeah.
And just not to scare you, I'm 100% not going to do anything to myself, no matter what he says during the holiday season, because I don't want to traumatize my friend during a time that's supposed to be happy. And even if he responds negatively, it doesn't mean I'll auto-kill myself. I'm trying to contemplate all different courses of action, including going public, and then if I can't take the amount of humiliation, then killing myself. Versus my plan before of scheduling a note before I die. Note for after I die. I'm also still looking into lawyers.
This is 13 reasons why. Like, if she kills herself, no one's gonna give a fuck. Some random asshole, bro.
Why is she threatening suicide?
Alright.
Do you think she's
News got leaked.
She'll be alright, bro. Tell her to do porn, bro. Like, that's it.
She's a feminist. I don't think she can do porn.
She's a what?
Feminist. And a leftist.
And I don't want my career to be defined by being one of the girls that put with this.
Anyway, that photo's from like 3 years ago.
Bro, it must have been the stress from like. You must be stressed, bro. Like 3 years?
Can I share this with Steven? He communicated to me. He knows he fucked up. There's no excuse.
Oh, she mentioned Steven? Oh.
At all. As quiet for you as possible until you decide what to do. Just in case you hear your name is blocked, that will be why. But if you prefer I don't, just tell me. It's whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. Because I genuinely thought he would cared what / was sad. Lol. Yes, honestly, I would prefer that. ! Makes my life easier / makes me less likely to hear bad stuff. I'm okay spending time with my family in Puerto Rico. Both my involvement and silence were at Pixie's request. Another log. Hey, I wanted to check. Bro, this just sounds like some definitely sounds like some like Ghislaine Maxwell stuff, man. Hey, I wanted to check in with you. As a heads up, I'm considering blocking your name in my chat for today stream because I don't want people even mentioning your leaks right now to keep everything as quiet for you as possible until you decide what you want to do. Bro, I feel like I'm retarded reading this. You should run on sentences. Fucking block ass text. You should just be voicemails. Just in case you hear the name is blocked, that will be what. Is this even a... You're not even supposed to put a comma here. Just in case you hear your name is blocked, that will be why. I don't think you need a comma here.
No.
This is a comma slice. But if you prefer... Read this already? The same shit twice? Fixed one. My greatest concern this whole time has been her well-being. Here are the logs for a second. Oh my god. Do I want to read all this? I should just link all this in the description. No, you guys know where to find this shit. Can't be bothered. I have never been interested in shutting down conversation about this topic. Only mentions that narrowed down the question of who could have leaked again at Pixie's request in the FQ message. What is this? What's FQ? Fairy Queen, my bad. Hey, Fairy Queen. I get that you're mad at me and that's fair. We've got our differences. But I wanted to ask you to think about the people involved in leaks. I've been talking with them, and they really want as little attention on this as possible. Your comment is kind of confirming that it's them, which they're denying, and drawing more attention to it. For their sake, I really appreciate if you consider removing that part of your comment. One, do you acknowledge that Melina is claiming Steven shared these videos without her consent? Have you confronted Steven privately about this? Will you dissociate from him for sharing another woman's sex tapes without her consent? Gotcha. I'm not an extension of Steven. You're not a feminist. I don't know why Kyla, she said this. Like, I don't understand.
Oh shit. Sky.
Yeah.
If I get a hair transplant surgery, right, the donor hair that they pull out my head, that won't get its hair back at all.
Oh.
That's tough.
Oh, so theoretically, I could still have
some
long
hair.
So it's really just like you're just swapping out. I don't get it. I don't get why the one you pull out doesn't grow back.
I don't either.
Or maybe something like laser hair removal. They just make it so it just doesn't grow.
I guess like they're just yanking out really fucking deep.
In the Fairy Queen message, I explicitly tell her to leave her comment up just to remove that part about mutual friends because this further increased the likelihood of people knowing it was Pixie or going through the trouble to verify the mutual friend in question. If I just wanted to remove the comment, I would have done so. I would not have reached out to Fairy Queen. Upon learning the leaks and Pixie's potential involvement, I investigated privately, contacting Aaron. I then spoke to Pixie and Steven in person separately. Like, this just seems sus. It's like, I don't know how she doesn't see how this is weird, talking to the accused and the accuser. It just seems weird. At the same time, I never defended, supported, or minimized Steven's sharing of Pixie's intimate images. Most of my conversations with Steven about this topic were in person and confrontational. I fought with him and advocated for reconnecting with Pixie. Why? Why he just did her so wrong and you want them to reconnect? I feel like this is just retarded. It's like if somebody got like raped and like, or someone got stabbed and like you should reconnect with the stabber. Why reconnect with the stabber? Like, let them be separate. Like, he fucked up. I don't think she. Let's read the message with Destiny. I don't think she wants a payday. She wants you to have a consequence for what she thinks was a major breach of trust. There's merit in that. You should engage with that because she was/is your friend. This is a was now. DGD logs going crazy. Your friend and you generally do. Your friend and you generally do feel bad if she's generally trying to fleece you. Yo, she's from Canada. She doesn't get to say fleece. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm the police. Stop with the fleecing. You've never said this in your life. If she's generally trying to fleece you, you will be able to catch it in the convo. If you're wrong about her and she's just fucked up over this and icing her out just makes it worse. That's the worst possible outcome. Giving this guy plans. She's giving like the accused plans. Like, I just don't know how she. And Kyle's upset that people think she's Ghislaine Maxwell. You're just giving the like ditch him. Not ditch him. Okay, maybe ditching is too far because morals. Blah 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 blah. You shouldn't be talking to him about this, man. You should wait until everything's blown over. Like, I don't know why she's meeting in this. Like, I don't know what possessed her thinks she's the person who's supposed to be meeting this. Option 1, add her and talk to her. pro. And she's giving this guy pros like, yo, he's such a secretary. This nigga, you don't even know what he did wrong. You're just giving him options to do stuff. Like, she's retarded. I don't know why she doesn't see how people are shitting on her. Option 1, add her and talk to her. Pro, she doesn't go nuclear for now. Con, maybe she's trying to fuck with you and the texts were annoying. Worst outcome, you have to block her later and because she's trying to get a payday from you. Best outcome, she just wants to know. And it had to do best. She just wants to know. I have to play the Turkey Tom video after this. She just wants to know her friend feels bad and knows it was wrong and settles. No nukes, and you did right by your friend. Option 2.
No way.
Option 2 by the secretary. You continue to avoid talking to her. Pro, less immediate problems like having to text her. Con, she goes nuclear publicly. Bro, why does it? Oh my god, why does she care if she goes nuclear publicly? If the victim themselves like decides to go nuclear publicly, I think that's like the best situation. I just don't know why I like gone for this guy. Worst outcome, she wasn't trying to fleece you. She goes public and kills herself. Oh wow, my god. Best outcome, she was lying about the public threat. She was like, I'm definitely deleting the stream. Nah, keep it up.
No, if you're gonna delete the stream, we should watch the porn video.
Stop it. I will kick. I could do it on kick. She was lying about the public threat and everything fades and you lose a friend for sure. Maybe more than one. Advocated for reconnecting with Pixie. My mediation for Pixie ended when she opted to reach out to Steven directly because I felt I was unable to navigate her monetary requests. I viewed him generally as remorseful and acting to fix the harms he had done, which is why I remained in business partnerships with him. I am very disappointed and angry with him that he opted not to connect with Pixie. I learned of the allegation which Cherry made yesterday. I support her and Pixie's decision and lawsuit charges. I've paused Bridget releases, canceled guests, and will evaluate business relations as I learn more. I asked Steven for information, but he's uncomfortable sharing due to the legal involvement. Everything here is released with all parties' consent. My DMs with Pixie were not given to Sunday or others with Pixie's consent. They're basically bitching about Sunday leaking. Now I could go back to Turkey Tom video, I think.
Shit's fun.
Bro, what the fuck's going on? Here back.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Suicide hotline?
And we meet up.
DMs and so the same day that the Destiny allegation stuff initially went public, I got reached out to by Erudite, Not So Erudite, or Kyla. She's Destiny's co-host of the Bridges podcast. She has a business with him, and she also was seen in the DMs interacting with Pixie, the alleged victim of the allegations, and basically she wanted to talk to me about her position based on the fact that there had been a lot of DMs leaked where it looked like she was kind of trying to at least from my perspective, initially cover for Destiny and maybe help him out and quell the situation from going public. So she wanted to talk to me about that. And this video is that interview where we talk about it. We go into the DMs. We talk about her perspective and her intentions. And I questioned her a little bit on a variety of things regarding the situation. So I think the interview will mostly speak for itself as far as whatever people want to come to conclusions on. But yeah, without further ado, this is the Erudite interview. She personally said, "Hey, I saw a video where you said Destiny, Erudite. I can understand how you came to that conclusion from the information that's available and the framing that's going on. If you're open to hearing me out, I'm down to talk to you about it in private. I'm also comfortable with you recording it and using that for content. I like you, and I think you're one of the few unbiased and responsible commentary YouTubers. So I feel like you might be open to getting my side with extra context and information. So we're going to be doing that. No word from Big D, but this is, I guess, the best we're going to get for now. I think he said he wouldn't be talking about this stuff pending certain legal action, so we'll talk to her about it. We'll see what she has to say. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right. How are you?
Been a day. Been a long day.
Yeah, just to let you know, I'm recording already, in case there was any question, just so it's totally clear. So yeah, what did you wanna talk about the Steve stuff that's going on?
Yeah, I figured I wanted to reach out to you, as I said, just because I think you're probably going to be the most fair, but it also seems like, so I'm only really going to speak probably to my side, and then if you have questions, I'll answer what I can. And I guess like the main thing for me is it's when people are looking at the texts that I'm sending back and forth with Pixie, they're getting like a very clip-chimped version of the exchange. Just so you are aware, I've talked to Pixie about an hour and let her know that I was talking to you just to get consent. So I asked her basically if I could give you DMs to basically be like, the way I'm getting painted here is like really, really far from the truth, and I don't really know why.
You look like Ghislaine Maxwell.
I know.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe
I
start with, like,
know,
first,
it's
so I called
crazy.
Pixie, and she immediately was like, I'm so sorry. And just so it's clear, you can text her as well if you want, like on Discord, and confirm like everything you want with her. Like I'm not like she's totally fine with it. She mostly just feels really bad about this. So this was the text that she sent me today, just so you have an idea of like where I'm coming from, and that she is like agreeing. She knows that I'm sending you these texts. The only thing is that if there's receipts that you want to ask for, I'm happy to give them. I just want to make sure that I send them to her as well, because I feel like it's like the one thing that hasn't happened in this whole situation is like her consent being included. So
yeah, it's her story, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want you to be clear that like I'm being very intentional about that, and if there's things that I don't answer, I apologize. There's just
so
like,
I can show this text you're sending.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me see here. So this says, let's see here. Hey, I'm still worried for you. Are you okay no matter what? Please never hesitate to reach out. She says, hi, Kyla. I'm sorry for not getting back to you earlier. I've just been really overwhelmed with the situation. I didn't consent to President Sunday receiving those messages at all. I feel like they painted both of us in a really bad and untrue light. I really appreciate that you care so much.
Destiny, are you going to downplay what you did by lumping in anyone who criticizes you for recklessly sharing multiple people's consent in with the likes of Mr. Girl? Okay, that you kind of fucked up the wording there. And that's a ban with the response yep, so no substantive response. Destiny, I honestly think coming back
care so much about me and have been checking on me so often, just asking if I'm okay. I don't think you'd go that far if you didn't care. I feel really guilty and bad because I didn't expect things to get leaked like this at all. Okay, so I guess you're just showing here that you guys are on good terms, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I guess the biggest question for me would be from the DMs, and I did prepare. I pulled up a bunch of them, so we can kind of, if you don't mind, we can go through them.
Yeah,
in a moment here,
that'll be
but-
perfect. I can kind of show you the context around the DMs that you have as well.
Okay, perfect. So the biggest thing for me is that it looks like you're essentially playing mediator for Destiny so that he doesn't have to directly talk to the alleged victim. It looks like that's what's happening here. You're playing mediator. You're trying to diminish consequences for him and diminish sort of culpability for him by not having him have to admit anything outright in a DM in regards to what happened in the situation. The situation being that it seems to be the case, at least, that he essentially got an explicit video of them together and then sent that to someone without her consent. To your knowledge, is that true? Did he do that?
So I also, just to be clear, I already told Destiny that this is what I was going to say to you as well. So everyone's just like fully consented, and I can again show you all the DMs of me letting him know that this was what I was going to be saying. When I confronted him in Miami in like early December, when I went down in person because I wanted to talk to him in person, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I asked him, "Did she know you were recording? And did she consent to it?" He said that she did know about the recording, like she's aware, she did consented to the actual filming of it, but
Yeah,
that
right.
he said specifically, probably not. Like it was 3 years ago, I don't remember specifically, and like things were open like this, but yeah, probably not. I didn't get like explicit consent. And I said, Steven, that's really fucked up. Like that's not okay. And so just to be clear, he would say, I didn't completely say, but I read that very strongly as him acknowledging that he did not have consent to give it.
Right. Okay. I guess the biggest question from there would be, once you had that conversation with him, and that was, you said December of last
Early
year?
December. Yeah.
2024?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had that conversation. How did things develop from there?
Yeah, so I was notified. So when the leaks happened, I was having like a community event. So I wasn't actually aware of the leaks until I think just like honestly, like a random person messaged me being like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. I still actually haven't looked at the leaks. I have like personally just a policy about never looking at like leaked nudes and stuff. But that's back. So this is back before I talked to Destiny or Pixie. That's when I reached out to Straight Array because I was hearing that it might be Pixie, and I figured if it was her, I was also hearing that she's saying it.
I don't want to scar myself. That's why I haven't seen it. But saying I have like a personal thing against the planet is just crazy.
Making her feel confronted. So I'm just gonna like check and see, because to me, if he didn't even have consent to record the video, then this is a whole different ballgame. Like it's a whole different plan of action of like how I am going to process what's going on.
Right. But to your knowledge, he did have consent to record, just not to share it.
Yeah, or at least consent to have it. I don't know if he recorded it or she recorded it and sent it to him. I'm not actually familiar with like how the video was made. But yeah, it sounds like he had consent to have the nude in the sex tape, but not to send it out. That's what Aaron said to me. And I was like, okay, well, thank fuck he didn't record somebody without
Aaron
them even
is
knowing.
Straight Raid?
Yes, Aaron is Straight Raid, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So you found that out. Sorry,
I texted Pixie. Yeah, so after that I texted Pixie. So for context, Pixie and I have been friends for like well over a year. Like we're not just two orbiters, but we worked in PV together. When I'm in Miami, I hang out with her all the time, independent of Steven. Like we have our own friendship. We've been good friends for at least a year. So as soon as Aaron confirmed to me what was going on, I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable like checking in with her and seeing how she's doing. Texted her, and she basically like immediately told me like everything that was going on. And I was like, okay, holy shit. I believe let me just check because I don't want to give you wrong information. I believe we've called a bunch because I checked in on her a bunch as well. It was all over text. Yeah, it was not on Discord. It was all over text. Okay. So December 12th, I texted her and I was like, hey. She was like, hi. And I said, do you want to chat or just have a friend? I'm really worried about you.
She responds. Once you found out about the stuff that was going on with the videos of her being public.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I reach out. I don't know. You don't probably need me to read everything, but basically she tells me that she's feeling a little bit suicidal, but she's not planning to kill herself immediately. And she's like trying to figure out like what to do about this situation. I respond, that tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you. I understand because I don't, but I do care. And I do want to see you safe and find peace. Do you mind if I ask to spend some time with you? She said, yes. We make a plan to meet up. And then we meet up, December 13th. We're talking about the time. I send her a restaurant. We go against that one. Malua. Okay, Friday, December 13th. There we go. Friday,
so you guys
December
met
13th.
Up in real life and had a conversation about how to proceed?
Yeah, and how she's doing. Because at this point,
had you talked to Destiny, Steven, about this stuff?
I had heard about it at this point, and he had basically like the only thing he had said is being like, "Hey, I'm worried about Pixie. Like, I think she's suicidal. Like you should, like if you want, you should probably check on her. And I was like,
He
okay.
Like, she doesn't see how this is messed up. The accused is telling you to meet with the accuser to go check up on her. Like, this shit is weird. Like,
It's 100% weird, but you also got. It's weird, but I understand because like it's drama, and especially women, they want to be in these like weird drama like situations in real life. If you tell them something like that, they're gonna be like, yeah. But people are just drama hungry, and they want that sitcom kind of bullshit life, and it like that trumps any logic that actually has. But the thing is, like, these people's lives are built around streaming, so them doing it is actually, yeah.
That he was worried about her being suicidal.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
you
but I
then
didn't-
go check up on her. You meet up in real life, and what?
Yes, but I
what-
texted her beforehand, just to be clear. I'd already texted her about wanting to meet up and talk anyways, and
Yeah.
he just gave me the extra information. She's suicidal.
Okay. How did that
yeah,
conversation
so
with her go?
It went honestly really, really well. I will say, so like part of when I went into it was I was trying to evaluate like how suicidal, how serious the risk was, and like where she was at, just because I don't know if you're familiar with my background, but I've obviously had a lot of experience with suicidal people. And so like the first goal for me was to be like, are you like an acute risk to yourself? Like what needs to happen? If not, what can we do instead to kind of help you get out of like this place? In that conversation, basically, she kind of told me about how she's been suicidal like most of her life, how she's been struggling a lot. But the concerning part to me in that conversation, I guess, like what more specifically was pertinent was she was actively cutting off friends so that to prepare for suicide. So she was cutting off friends so that if she did and opted to kill herself, it would hurt them less. So at this point, she had broken up with a couple of friends and stopped responding, and a couple of friends were trying to hang out with her and she wasn't responding to them. I don't think she probably wants any of the names of the friends leaked. At least she said, like, please don't give any of the names out. So you can check with her separately if she wants to give you names. But yeah, just different friends in Miami. Yeah,
that's fine. I believe that she was suicidal over having her news leaked. And before that point in time, that's fair. Okay, so
yeah. So importantly, though, she had a stockpile of pills. So I asked her straight out. I was like, okay, so I need to know, like, do you have means? Like, how would you like if you're planning to do it? Do you have a plan? She's like, yes. Probably pills. And I was like, do you have the pills right now? And she was like, yes, I do. And I was like, okay, that's pretty serious. So we continued talking, and basically I shifted into like, I'm not gonna lie, like a bit of side intervention conversation where basically you talk with your friend, you figure out how things are going on, you understand them, and you try to find things that they feel tether them to life, right? And so one thing that she really cared about is she does care about her friends. She doesn't want to hurt them. Another thing she cares about is she does want to see like some level of like justice for the situation. She thinks what he did was wrong. And to be clear, I agree with her. I've told Steven that. I've told her that. Like I've never minced words about being like, yeah, he did something really wrong here.
You, to be clear, going into that conversation, you didn't know that the video was shared unconsensually?
No, because Aaron had already told me like a week before, so I was already aware. Yeah, I wanted to talk to Pixie, and then I wanted to talk to Steven to see how he would respond afterwards.
Okay, so during the conversation with Pixie, did she? Because you talked about her suicidality. Did you guys talk about other stuff in terms of like how she was feeling about it or her recourse? I mean, you said she wanted to seek justice. Was she thinking about a lawsuit at that point in time?
So we talked about a bunch of her options. She was like, she had looked into a lawsuit at that point. I don't know how much I can say about her lawsuit, but basically it wasn't something she wanted to consider for a couple of legal reasons that I probably would let her describe. But one reason I think can be fully public would be that she didn't want her name out there. I think she said that in DMs to Steven as well.
Okay.
That got leaked today. So she was very worried about if she does a civil suit, her name will have to be publicly attached to the civil suit. And so she was like, I really don't want to consider a lawsuit. And I said, like, I guess I'll show you text as well where I reiterate this, but the entire time with Pixie, my entire approach has been, you get to steer the boat. Like, you get to decide how you want to respond, and you can decide that you don't want a lawsuit today, and you can change your mind a week from now, and all of that's okay. Like, all of that's okay.
Okay.
We talked about how she could maybe talk to him like privately, but she was really nervous too. So this is where she basically was like, I can't remember if she brought it up first or I, but basically her being like maybe you can see what he'd be willing to do like for me. She was like, I feel like you really, really understand emotionally where I'm coming from. I did a lot of like paraphrasing of like, it seems like your biggest concern right now is like justice, because you feel like you've been wronged and there's no direction for you to correct the situation, and you've been betrayed by your friend in like a pretty major way, and there's nothing for you to do that doesn't kind of publicly implicate you, and so you want to work with him privately to find a better resolution that you feel at peace with. She's like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I want to know that he's not going to do this again, right? That was her orientation in the conversation. So we talked about a couple of strategies about how she could do that. I was like, you could message him. You could go through like other people to message him. You could go through a civil lawsuit. You can take 5 days and just like think about it. Like, you don't have to decide right now, but just like let me know what you'd like. And that's when she was like, yeah, I think I'd really appreciate if you just like told him where I'm at, communicate like emotionally. Cause she's like, I feel like when I communicate with him, like he's not understanding it. I don't feel really understood. And I feel like you do understand me. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm happy to communicate how you're feeling to him.
Okay. So then from there, you go and talk to him. At which point you already know from based on what Strader Aid said that it seemed like it was shared unconsensually. What did he say?
I think she confirmed that. So Pixie also confirmed that when we met.
Okay. All right.
And that's when he said to me, so when I confronted him, I said, did she agree to it? And he said, probably not. It was like 3 years ago, so I don't remember exactly. And I didn't think it would be a big deal, but yeah, probably not. So I took that as him saying no. To be clear, he never said to me, I guess, explicitly no, which is probably something that he might take contention with. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So you guys have that conversation. So at that point, Pixie wants some kind of justice, doesn't want her name out there. Obviously what Steve's position is. Where does it go from there? From here, you kind of start mediating conversations between them and what he wants versus what she wants.
Well, at first I basically go like a big part of this was, okay, he said to me, like in my recollection and my perception of the conversation, it felt like he was saying like more or less like, I mean, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a big fuck up. Like,
did he recognize how bad it was?
Yes. He's like, I know. And I was like, it's really bad. And he's like, I know. And he was like, he's like, okay, I don't know. I think publicly he hasn't said what he's doing like legally behind the scenes. So I like literally can't tell you that, but he told me a number of things just because like I don't want to get caught up in a lot of the lawsuits in part. And secondly, I think if some of the things get public, it could like implicate part of what's trying to be done from both sides, I think, as far as like investigation and stuff. So he basically like told me what he was doing behind the scenes as far as like what to do. And then I was like sitting there being like, okay, but like, what did you say? Like when she first approached you, I was like pushing him. And he was like, fuck, like, I don't know. He's like, if you want, you can just read our entire DMs. Like, I can show you our entire DMs of, like, what I said to her so that you know, like, how I responded. And I was like, to be honest, I would appreciate that. So
are these the same DMs that already got leaked, or is this a different conversation?
Welcome back.
Thanks, bro.
I would need to look. I think almost all of my exact ones that got leaked, except rather than it being, like, clipped up into little images, it would be, like, the entire thing and, like, their whole conversation, which has lots of extras in it. But more or less, I think what's been leaked.
Okay. And what was your impression of that conversation once you read that?
Basically, I read that as, okay, so he knows that he's done wrong. And when she brings it to him, the first thing that he does is basically say, I'm really sorry. Like, there's no excuse, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm glad that at least like when she's talking to him, he's like fully acknowledging like he fucked up here. Him and I read through some of the plan. I think some of the plan is probably clear, like what he's doing, like behind the scenes and legally. And he also talked to me about the money offer, and I was like, why did you offer her money? And he was like, well, I just like, he's like, I know it looks gummy, but I also know she's like applying for LSAT, so I just figured like it's not much, but it's something I can do to help because like she's fucked, like she got fucked over. She did nothing wrong.
Doesn't that kind of read as like him offering her money for some benefit in exchange for her silence?
To be honest, I really didn't read it that way. Particularly because it's like caveated with like, I know that this looks scummy, especially now that I have full context. I realize the idea actually came from Aaron, and then he suggested to her like, I believe within an hour, if I'm looking at the times correctly, like he immediately suggested it to her. So it's coming from somebody now. I realize even that was in his mind talking to her and communicating like what she wanted. And my understanding as well is that was something that is probably the right thing to do. Like he should probably, if she's like doesn't want to go public or anything, and because of that she can't like sue him, if he's remorseful and like wants to take accountability for his actions, he should like probably pay for therapy and like probably her living for a while to like help her out basically. Like that seemed like alongside the other stuff that he was doing, to be honest, like the right response, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I guess the concern for me is like, you know, Pixie, I mean, in her own statement, she said that there's, you know, I think she said 3 people total, her and 2 other people that he's seemingly done this to. And I mean, you know, obviously it's her decision whether or not it goes public, but, you know, the problem with it maybe not going public at some point is he doesn't face actual repercussions for his actions, which is like public scrutiny, right? Because if he gets it in his head, he can just pay his way out of these situations. And to be clear, he has enough money to do that. You know, he can pay for her law school and still be okay. It's like, what incentive is there for him to not do it again in the future if he thinks he might be able to get away with it, you know?
Yeah, this is why when I talked to Pixie, I told her like if you want to sue him, I like support you in doing that. I've never said anything different with her. I think that's like fully within her right. I just know for her, I guess to be specific, she explicitly told me that if this stuff became more public, that was the thing that made her want to kill herself. She was terrified of like family finding out. She was terrified of like friends and stuff finding out and like seeing this content. And she was like, that was the thing like driving her suicidality, was the publicity of it, which is why she didn't want to go to like civil court. Right. So then I'm like, if the publicity part is attached to the suit, which she said she talked to lawyers, I just believed her. It sounds like that's also correct. Then it's like, what's the next best thing for her? Because I think that she deserves something. But
so what was your kind of goal throughout all of this? Because obviously puts you in a very awkward position where on one hand you're trying to help out your friend, but at the same time, I mean, you're I don't know if you're employed by Destiny, but you work with him. Obviously, he's helping you out a lot.
Together.
Yeah, right. So like what kind of position are you in at that point? Like how are you feeling? Are you thinking like, can I continue working with this guy if he's doing this kind of stuff? Are you thinking of cutting him off? Like what kind of position is that putting you in?
I mean, before I sent the message to Aaron, I was talking to my husband, like to Nick, and I was like, if he recorded somebody without their knowledge and sent it out, like I don't think I can, like I don't know what to do. I don't think I can work with. Like that's a line I can't. I don't fuck with that shit. Like that's insane. And it sounds like, I know recently like Cherry has made some statements, just to be clear, I don't know anything about those leaks, and so like I don't know. I need to figure out what's going on with those additional leaks, because like a pretty hard line for me is like if somebody does according to somebody else, that's a pretty hard line for me.
Right. Well, even outside of the recording, I mean, the question of what, you know, whether or not the recording was consented to, the spreading around certainly wasn't from your perspective. Is that enough to draw a line 100%.
Or no? So that it's not for me. The issue is that what was a line for me before, I was like, okay, if she did consent to the recording but not to the spreading around, which I'm assuming that she hadn't, then I said, what matters to me is like how he responds. Is he trying to fix it? Is he being remorseful? Is he like reaching out to her to like find some level of solution? If that's like his initial response, that to me is a lot more meaningful. Because it's like,
I guess my question would be like, why do you draw a line there? Like, it's not like he slipped on a banana peel, you know, like he was in one of his goon sessions and he decided to send a video to some random Discord e-girl of Pixie engaging with him. Like, why would? I mean, obviously he had to have known that, you know, whether or not he was the one to leak it to the public, he had to have known that he's running the risk of that video being publicized when he's sending a video of, you know, him and another person sexually interacting to someone random that he met on Discord, or even somebody he may have trusted, right? Like, if Pixie didn't consent, he had to have known he ran the risk of that being publicized in some way, considering how, you know, how much public scrutiny there is around Destiny, and frankly, how many people would love to have a video of him engaging in that, as you've seen from the Twitter stuff, right? Like, would that not be is that not something he should have been pretty, I don't know, forward thinking about?
Yeah, I agree that, like, it's the issue is, like, it's not that I'm not saying it wasn't a fuck up. Like, I agree that it was a fuck up, and I think it was a massive betrayal of trust. Just to me, like, recording somebody and then without their knowledge and leaking it is like a full on, like, it's a pretty, like, sexually invasive crime. Leaking somebody's nudes, I think, is also really bad. To be clear, I think it is really bad. But the issue is that I think it's fundamentally just a more common issue that people do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody has, like, leaked nudes. I think it's really bad. I think it's not okay. Like, when you hear about, like, guys, like, showing other guys, like, tits that some girls shunt her, like, I think it's gross, and there's a reason I don't look at it.
I mean, that's, you know, that's I agree, it's less severe, but, you know,
So
this
that's
isn't
why-
this,
that's
but this
why the
isn't a
line's
bunch of
there.
this isn't a bunch of high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this.
Sure, but the law and morals are different, right? In the case of, like, recording somebody against their consent and then releasing it against their consent is a totally different action to me than, like, having it sent to them and then thinking it would stay private because they're sending it to somebody else and giving it to somebody else, which they shouldn't have done. Like, these are just the intention and everything behind it is a lot different to me.
So is your
And-
concern entirely the legality versus the morality? Like, is the morality not really a big question for you?
No, I think morality is a really big question. But I'm saying that basically, to some degree, I suppose I'm saying I agree with the law here. I agree with the law drawing a line here saying, like, this is a even more severe action. Both are really bad. The issue is that one of them is, like, criminologically bad, and the other one is, like, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Okay, so you were okay with working with the piece of shit, to be clear.
I was willing to work with somebody who fucked up and then also showed remorse and was, like, willing to try to help the person that he fucked over and correct it. Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess moving on from that interaction. So where did the kind of conversation go from there once you had gotten his side and gotten her side? You, at that point, a lot of the DMs seem to be you kind of mediating, talking to her about what she wants versus what Steven is willing to provide and do. What was your kind of perspective on those interactions? Before we get into the specific stuff, I guess just overarchingly, what was your goal there?
Sorry, I think I'm not understanding your question. Could you just rephrase it?
I guess, okay. What was your goal past that point once you found out what he had apparently done and you seemingly got confirmation? Once you found out how her feelings were on it, what was your goal past that point? Was it just to help Pixie out? Was it to protect Destiny from the allegations?
No. So, like, this is the biggest frustration. I don't know if you've seen the Fairy Queen leaks or whatever. I don't know why people keep saying this. They keep saying that I asked her to delete the comment, but you can just read my message. I explicitly tell her I'm messaging her because I don't want her to remove the comment. I want her to remove the identifying piece where she talks about, like, friends, because I don't want anything that could narrow it to Pixie, because the main thing that Pixie has said to me over and over is the publicity piece. So the only thing that I have cared about, by and large, has been following what Pixie feels that she needs in that moment, right? Listening to, like, what she's asking for. There are certain things it's possible that she could ask me to do where I'd be like, I'm not comfortable facilitating this, right? But saying something like, please don't make my name public, please don't address it publicly, and please, like, try to keep it as quiet as possible, 110% I'm going to do that. Like, no question.
So
And
you say
if
the
you look at the
Fairy
Queen
Queen leaks,
message-
do you mean is this message, right? Let me just to confirm with you.
Yes. So if you
Okay.
read, I get that you're mad, that's fair. Your comment is kind of confirming that it's them, which they're denying and drawing more attention to their. I'd really appreciate if you considered removing that part of your comment, right? Just that part. And there's a reason that I didn't just delete it immediately, because I'm fine with the discussion of it. I'm fine with people, like, talking about whether Destiny's a piece of shit. I think all of that is really valid. But what's not valid is, like, making Pixie's plight worse. That's not valid. And like until she decides that she wants to go public, I'm not taking that from her.
Right. So here, Fairy Queen asks, they say, do you acknowledge that Melina is claiming Steven shared these videos without her consent? Have you confronted Steven about this? Will you dissociate from him for sharing another woman's sex tapes without her consent? You said, gotcha, I'm not an extension of Steven, you're not a feminist, and you blocked her. What, were you blocking her because it seemed like she wasn't going to edit her comment, or because you didn't want to answer these questions publicly? Like, what was the concern here, I guess?
It basically seems like, so Fairy Queen and I have a history, just to be clear. A really weird history, where she constantly is accusing me of things and then coming to me behind the scenes to like help with suicidality or certain things. And the reality is that if somebody's life is at risk and they need help, I'm just going to give it. I'm always going to give it. And so Fairy Queen at this point and I had 2 separate interactions where she had come to me because somebody she knew or a friend of hers was suicidal and she was looking for like steps about how to handle it. And I helped her every single time. One of the times was also a mutual friend, like Xena. All that stuff is very, very public. I did a lot of the similar stuff with Xena. I met up with her. I think with Xena, I actually spent a night at her house just to like keep her safe when she was really distressed. Xena, I also did like multiple safety calls for her where like I reported like as she was attempting like to the police and stuff like that. So Fairy Queen has this weird dynamic where she keeps coming to me for help with stuff, which I'm always willing to. But then she'll also be like, but why are you such a piece of shit? Why are you friends with Destiny? He's a horrible person. And I'm just like, look, like if somebody needs help, I'm always willing to. There's lots of things I disagree with Steven about. But yes, I'm still willing to work with him. So that's part of what's driving this. When she like sent all those questions, I was like, oh, so every time she said like one thing that she really cares about is women, I don't know if I believe her because it seems like she's willing to hurt Pixie to like get at Steven. And I'm not interested. And at that point I blocked her and deleted the comment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, with that out of the way, I think the thing I wanted to go over next would be all the text messages between you and Pixie that got leaked. Now, before we get into that, I guess my question would be from you, do you know the way that these text messages, like iMessage, the way these texts got leaked, how did this end up getting out? Who was this sent to that ended up sending it to someone that ended up getting it publicly?
My teacher.
What was the chain of events here?
It sounds like Pixie sent it to Aaron, trying to like basically like this is what Kyla's saying. Pixie and I have talked. She's also willing. Her and Aaron aren't talking anymore. But she is willing to like if need be. Obviously, she wants to be as publicly implicated as possible. So if you need it, you can probably reach out. But also, I don't have it because I didn't ask for it. But basically, she was constantly telling Aaron like, "What do you think about this? This is what Kyla's suggesting." And Aaron was saying like, "I think she's being snaky," and Pixie was being like, "I don't think she's being snaky." So I think the only text she has is because those are the specific screenshots that Pixie sent to Aaron. I'm not 100% confident. From my understanding, Aaron directly leaked them to Sunday. I think Beckett of Crabs or whatever, he covers all the leaks on stream. It sounds like Sunday got them directly from her. I don't know how Beckett got them. I think some people are saying it. I think it might have been through Smugbug because Aaron's good friends with Smugbug. I don't know though. I have no idea how Beckett got the DMs, and I don't know if Nicholas got it from Beckett or from Sunday or like what the transaction is after that. I have no idea.
Okay, and I haven't seen Pixie directly talk about Sunday or I guess maybe Bad Empanada is someone that people are talking about right now, but I saw her. Just let me find her tweet real quick. In her thread, she had said something to the effect of, let me see here, I've got it. Okay, so she said, if you're a leftist who has talked about the situation without so much as contacting me, you owe me an apology. On top of being a victim of revenge, I now have to deal with people lying about my dating life and further dehumanization of me. I know I shouldn't elaborate more, but I think one of the worst parts of what's happened is learning how so many people I genuinely thought were my friends are so easily willing to betray me. I don't understand what I've done to them to make them want to treat me like this. So do you know who she's talking about here, or is she not willing to?
I'm speculating it's Aaron. I didn't ask her specifically. I would speculate Aaron. I know she's feeling, she basically, I called her tonight